Morning. Today we are going to discuss about the law of parallelogram of forces and triangle law of forces. We are in earlier lesson we distinguished between scalar and vector quantities, coplanar and non-coplanar forces, parallel and non-parallel forces, like and unlike parallel forces. We will see that classification also again. That force system or system of forces coplanar and non-coplanar, in which coplanar is again classified into collinear, concurrent, non-concurrent force system. The coplanar collinear force system is again classified according to the like and unlike classification. In the collinear like force system, the forces are acting in the same sense of direction. Either they are completely push or either they are completely pull type. Or you can say are completely in positive x direction or completely totally in negative x direction, or might be in the positive y direction, or might be in the negative y direction. They are completely in that direction, and the sense is also for all the forces is same. Whereas in the coplanar collinear unlike forces, their line of action will be the same, but their sense will be the different. One or two forces, they differentiate themselves in the sense or direction with respect to the other forces, but all together, all the forces are having the same line of action. Thus, in the coplanar concurrent force, where all the forces are in the same plane and they are meeting at one point, then it is known as coplanar concurrent. Similarly, coplanar non-concurrent means all the forces are in the same plane, but they are not meeting at one point. That means their line of action is not concurrent at one point. They are not joining at one point. The coplanar non-concurrent forces are again subdivided into parallel and non-parallel. So, coplanar non-concurrent parallel forces means the forces are acting at different planes, but when comparatively you see, all the forces are parallel to each other, but they are separated and they are at another planes. So then that system is known as coplanar non-concurrent forces. And you can broadly understood by this by when two aeroplanes are are in the space parallel to each other. But if you consider one pair aeroplane on one plane and another aeroplane is in another plane, so both are parallel forces, but they are at different planes. They are not coinciding their planes. They are separated by their planes, their planes. Right? And in the similar way, non-concurrent, non-parallel forces are they are acting at different positions, and they are not parallel to each other. They are not, their line of action is not joining at one point, and similarly they are not parallel to each other. Like in the coplanar non-concurrent parallel like forces, their sense will be the same, but they are not concurrent to each other. Similarly, unlike, their sense is different for the different forces, but they are parallel to each other, but they are not non-concurrent. So non-coplanar means number of planes are more, the forces are acting at number of planes, whereas coplanar only one plane is there where all the forces are acting. In the non-coplanar, where number of planes and forces are acting at different plane surfaces. Earlier we taken the planes example, now it is very suitable to this one. where the planes are they are at some distance to each other, then the planes, their planes are different. Hence non-coplanar parallel force, you take the non-coplanar parallel forces like you can see that a traffic person, a traffic constable is standing by raising his right hand to the top and left hand in the bottom side towards the ground side. Hence the directions are different and they are parallel to each other. Their line of action is parallel to each other, but their sense is different. Then that is known as non-coplanar parallel unlike forces. If like in a cricket, when umpire raises his both the hands he is when it is a an appeal given by the cricketer. So when that is the sense of both the hands are in upper side, that means it is a like parallel forces and their planes are different. Right hand, left hand side, both the planes are different. Hence it is known as non-coplanar parallel like forces. Similarly, non-coplanar concurrent means the forces are acting at different planes, but they are not, but they are meeting at some point. That means their planes are different, but their lane of action will meet at some point. Even though they are acting at different planes. Like in a you imagine a cube or a box is there with you, where one side of your friend is pulling another side, another surface. Because a box having six surfaces, that means six planes. A box is having six planes. So on each plane, if your six friends and along with you including you, 5 plus 1, 6 forces are acting at different directions of pull push like that. If you draw the line of action of all your forces, if they meet at within the cube space of at any point, then it is known as non-coplanar concurrent force system. If that is not happen, then non-coplanar non-concurrent system will be termed it is. Now we move to the today's session. We are want to learn today about the only two forces if you are given to you and want to find the resultant of the same thing, that uh, can be solved by using the two major laws in engineering mechanics. That is, you are also come across in the physics also the same two laws. Those are parallelogram law of forces and triangle law of forces. We will see discuss in detail of each case. Before that, I will want to again reconcile these two parallelogram law of force and triangle law of forces is deal with the coplanar concurrent force system. Right? They are meeting at one point because it's a concurrent system and coplanar force. With the line of action of all the forces meet at a point irrespective of the direction in one plane, then it is called concurrent force system and coplanar concurrent force system. Now you see that cases of coplanar concurrent force system when only two forces ఎలా ఉండాలి, రెండు ఫోర్స్లు అలాగే ఎలా ఉండాలి, నాన్ కోలీనియర్ and concurrent at one point. Please mind it, we are referencing it as a non-collinear, but where at some cases it also become a collinear. Those are the special cases, and we are also explained the same thing in later session also. At present, we are taking it as a non-collinear, right? So it is a initial, right? So coplanar concurrent force system when only two forces are non-collinear and concurrent at one point, that can be resolved, resultant can be obtained by using law of parallelogram of forces and triangle law of forces. In the law of parallelogram forces, the resultant is also a concurrent. whereas in the resultant is not shown as a concurrent, but in practical it is concurrent in triangular law of forces. We will see that difference. Parallelogram. What is a parallelogram? So a parallelogram is a quadrilateral, that means four sides, with opposite sides parallel, and therefore opposite angles are also equal. You see that this is a parallelogram. You know that rectangle and rhombus like this. What is a rhombus? A quadrilateral with equal sides. Parallelogram is also a quadrilateral. Rhombus is also quadrilateral because four sides. Whereas rectangle is also a parallelogram because rectangle has an angle of 90 degrees within the both the sides. Rhombus has some sorts of angles of in the similar manner, but opposite angles are equal. Now the shape of the parallelogram will be like this. Skew type of the rectangle you can say, or you can, these are the angles. Angle can be 90-degree, angle can be other degree, but opposite angles are should be equal. So by using the parallelogram, with the help of the two forces, we want to know the resultant of a parallelogram. So what the law of parallelogram of forces states? If two concurrent forces are represented in magnitude and direction by two adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn through a concurrent or origin point O, their resultant can be represented in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram. These are some highlights I have given here. You understood those highlight words. Two adjacent. You have to arrange the forces as a adjacent sides of a parallelogram. We have seen that in earlier diagram there are four sides, but what we are going to do that we make the forces, two forces as a two sides, two adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn through a concurrent or origin. అంటే ఆ సైడ్స్ ఎలా ఉండాలి, రెండు కూడా ఒక పాయింట్ దగ్గర కలుస్తూ ఉండాలి. ఆ ఫోర్సెస్ ఎలా ఉండాలి, ఆ సైడ్స్ ఎలా ఉండాలి, ఆర్ షుడ్ బి ఒక పాయింట్ దగ్గర కలుస్తూ ఉండాలి. సో అలా కనుక అరేంజ్మెంట్ మనం చేస్తే ఆ ప్యారలగ్రామ్ని మనం కంప్లీట్ చేస్తాం. అంటే ఆపోజిట్ సైడ్స్ని మనం సేమ్ యాజ్ టీజ్గా ప్యారల్గా డ్రా చేసేసుకొని రిమైనింగ్ది ఏదైతే డయాగ్నల్ ఫామ్ అవుతుందో ఆ డయాగ్నల్ మనకి ఏమిస్తుంది, రిజల్టెంట్ ఆఫ్ ది బోత్ ద టూ ఫోర్సెస్. అలాగే ఆ రిజల్టెంట్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి ఆరిజినేట్ చేయాలి, ఎందుకంటే ఒక ప్యారలగ్రామ్లో రెండు డయాగ్నల్స్ ఉంటాయి. సో ఏ డయాగ్నల్ మనకు రిజల్టెంట్ ఇస్తుంది, ఎక్కడైతే రెండు ఫోర్సెస్ కలిసి ఉన్నాయో మనం డ్రా చేసేటప్పుడు ఆ రెండు ఫోర్సెస్ కలిసి ఉన్న పాయింట్ దగ్గర నుంచి వచ్చేటువంటి డయాగ్నలే మనకి రిజల్టెంట్ని ఇస్తుంది. సో రిజల్టెంట్ యొక్క ఆరిజిన్ కూడా ఎక్కడ ఉండాలి, ద కంకరెంట్ పాయింట్ దగ్గర నుంచే ఉండాలి. So you see in this figure where there is an object is there are two forces are pulling like force P and force Q. The force P is purely on x-axis direction and force Q is making an angle of 40 degree with respect to the x-axis, or you can say with the force P. When this type of two forces are acting on an object, obviously the object will move with the corresponding resultant which is coming out from the both the action of the forces at some certain angle, say alpha. So resultant has the two portions that we know, that resultant has the magnitude, resultant has the alpha, that means it has the direction with respect to the adjacent force or with the x-axis. So from this figure we observe that there are two vectors, that means two forces. Each vector has been noted as AB bar. AB bar represents the force vector P, which the force starting from point A towards the B, and note down it's concurrent at O. And the second vector AC, the force of the Q, is also originating from the concurrent point at O and travels towards the C point. Now we are applying the parallelogram law for this condition of the force system on the object. Now this is the procedure how to establish the as a geometrical procedure, as a diagrammatic representation of the parallelogram. What is the step one you have to do? Draw the side AB drawn such that its length represents the magnitude of force P to a scale 100 Newton. I am giving an example for this one. If I say that 500 newtons is there, so I take it as 500 newtons, and each 100 newton is 1 mm. Then what would be the length of that AB? 5 mm only. So that you can select your scale according to the magnitude of the force. So 5 mm is very little to draw this. Hence you can change the scale according to your magnitude. So for this condition for 500 newtons, I should take as a 5 newton is equal to 1 mm also. So that I can came up to the 10 centimeters for the P force. So that you can change your scale to get the bigger diagram, or you can reduce your scale to get the reduced diagram. So that is totally depends how the scale you are going to choose that represents your diagram. So initially you have to draw the one force which is in the given direction using the scale according to the magnitude of the force P, like this one. So draw AB as a vector of the force P with the given scale as per your convenience. In the step 2, draw side AC such that its length represents the magnitude of force Q to a scale of accordingly your convenience, and direction same as that of the force Q at a given angle with respect to force P from the concurrent point O. So this is the arrangement. Finally, we have drawn force P and force Q at a given angle theta with respect to the force P drawn for the force Q. Now you see, join the other sides as the sides of parallelogram. So we already learned that parallelogram has to be drawn. So that the other sides and angles are the same, opposite angles are should be the same. So in the similar manner, construct the parallelogram and such that CD is parallel to AB and BD is parallel to AC. Now your construction of parallelogram is completed. Now your interest is to find the resultant force. For that, you need to draw a diagonal from the concurrent point, to draw the diagonal from the concurrent point, that is point A, towards the point D. See this one. So now I had joined the diagonal where the both the forces are concurrent point, that is A or O, towards the point D, that is the other diagonal point. So to get the resultant, join the diagonal points. The diagonal starting point is always from the point of concurrent, that is O. Magnitude of the resultant would be the diagonal only. So in earlier steps, in order to represent the vector forces P and Q, You have chosen your convenient scale. Now, to get the magnitude of the resultant, that is diagonal, you need to measure that length with the scale and then convert into the force by using the your scale, assumed scale. So, to know the direction of the resultant, to know the direction of the resultant with respect to the force P, measure the angle from P to the diagonal R. So we have to measure the angle from the P to the R to get the direction of the resultant. Whenever we talk with resultant means it is the magnitude of the resultant and angle of the resultant with respect to the some specific force that might be P or Q, but in generally we want to represent with the initial force or with respect to the horizontal. So generally we are wanted to draw P force as an horizontal so that it is convenient to draw the diagram also and to mean and save your time. So that is a major important to get the quick results from the parallelogram law of forces. Now this is the final situation. Now in this figure you can notice that the R is a resultant which is the diagonal which is originating from the concurrent point O and reaches to the diagonal D, and whereas the alpha is the direction of resultant with respect to force P. So this is we learned that the theoretical approach or graphical approach to get the resultant. Now we are moving to the mathematical approach. So by the solutions of the mathematical approach, the force or resultant on can be obtained by using the cosine. It is nothing but any special case how you can represent the C, the force Q, that is AC, how you can represent the force Q in terms of the x and y, that is nothing but q square plus 2pq cos theta, and whereas the p can be represented as p square to get the resultant. So this square root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta, where theta is the angle between the both the force vectors. So to understood this one, we know that r is equal to square root of sigma f of x square plus sigma f of y square. You can also use the same equation and you will get the same thing here also. What you will get in the sigma f of x square means only p, that is the p square, and what is the fx contribution from the q, that is q cos theta. Now you got the two terms. One is sigma f of x square, that means p plus q cos theta whole square, and for the sigma f of y, what will be the q vector? That is q sine theta. What is the contribution of the p towards the y, f of y? P contribution is 0 because it giving an angle of 90 degree, right? Hence, that would be q cos theta whole square for the f of y. Now you combine those all things. P plus q cos theta whole square gives p square plus q square cos square theta plus 2pq cos theta, and from the sigma f of y square, that is a q sin theta, q square sin theta. So by adding all those things, you will get the square root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. So combining all those things, so resultant will become, that will represent in the same way. So alpha has been taken as tan inverse sigma f of y by sigma f of x. So whereas it is in the angle of the sine theta will be the 90 degrees, then you get the square root of p square plus q square like that. But theta is always not equal to 90 degree. So this mathematical approach you have to follow. R is equal to square root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. And the direction of the resultant, that alpha is equal to tan inverse sigma f of y by sigma f of x. Now you see what is the f of y, that is q sin theta only, because p doesn't have any vertical resolution, whereas the f of x has the both the p and q contribution, hence p plus q cos theta in the, both are in collinear forces, like when resolution of the q. Therefore the same thing has been substituted in the, to get the direction of the resultant, alpha is equal to tan inverse q sin theta by p plus q cos theta. Now we are interested to find the resultant of a force P in x direction and having magnitude of 500, and force Q having magnitude of 450 newtons, which is making an angle of 30 degree with respect to P in anti-clockwise direction. Now you have to draw that same figure. What is the force P? 500 newtons. So P is equal to 500 newtons, and the Q will be the 450 newtons, and the theta is 30 degree. So you know the formula of resultant is equal to square root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta, 2pq cos theta. Now to get, substitute the p value 500 newtons and q value 400 newtons, then theta 30 degree, you will get the answer. Resultant is equal to 917.72 newtons, 917.72 newtons. Get the calculations from your calculator and make it correct and understood it better. Yeah? Now to get the direction of the resultant, you have to get the same formula, that is alpha is equal to tan inverse q sin theta by p plus q cos theta. Substitute p is equal to 500 newton, q is equal to 450 newton, and theta is equal to 30 degree. You got the alpha value 14.19 degree or 14 degrees 11 minutes. Using the calculator you can get these values. And finally, after getting the resultant 917.72 newton and direction of the resultant alpha 14 degree 11 minutes, we have to draw a figure showing the all the results with clearly mentioning alpha and theta values and direction of the force vectors of P and Q and the resultant force vector R. Without showing the conclusionized diagram, it will not be understood better. Hence, make an habit to draw the diagram after finding the results. Now, in another case, if I want to uh, get the some short answers bits or some special cases, just have you a fun with you these basic formula by substituting theta value at different values, because cos theta is 0. If I substitute the theta is 0, that means what happens? Please refer. If theta is 0, in your figure theta is going to be 0, then AC will meet AB. That means the force system will become collinear. That force system will become collinear. So in earlier slides, we we state that it is used for the non-collinear. Now this is the special case where theta is 0. Where theta is 0, then it becomes collinear. So the same thing is here mentioned, that theta is 0 means collinear like force system. So then what happens? Both the sense will be the same. You see that? Both the sense will be the same. Then AC will come towards the B also, and both are in the same direction. Hence you can add to get the resultant P and Q. Therefore R is equal to P plus Q. You see here. Therefore R is equal to P plus Q. So this is the clear picture where the theta is becomes 0, then P and Q becomes collinear forces, and their resultant will be P plus Q. If theta has been made as 180-degree, then what happens? Then the special case. That means both the forces are in opposite direction. Then theta will become 180-degree. So for 90-degree it is purely at y-axis, and at 180-degree what happens? It will become a negative x direction. The force q vector will become a negative x direction. So the p is in positive x direction and q force is in negative x direction. Then only 180-degree is possible. Hence due to this it will become collinear unlike forces. See that system becomes collinear unlike force system. Therefore, this is the special cases are happened in the parallelogram forces. It can also be useful for the collinear like and unlike force systems. So therefore, R is equal to P minus Q, because they are having the same line of action, but their sense is different. Their direction of action is opposite to each other. Hence, there is subtraction will come into picture. Therefore, R is equal to P minus Q, and resultant is again because 0-degree, because the line of action of the resultant P and Q all are the same. Direction or line of action will be the same for the three vectors. When R is equal to P minus Q, when we are assuming that P is greater than Q. If P is less than Q, then what happens? If P is less than Q, then minus Q plus P. Right? So the resultant will be the in the Q side then. So we have to represent the resultant towards the larger force, towards the larger force. You just get the modulus R is equal to P minus Q. You get the modulus value for to get the magnitude. To get the direction, you just draw the direction of the larger force for the resultant. Then this is the situation. You see that in the second case, you get this unlike system, unlike parallel force system. Therefore, R is equal to P minus Q. And the third special case system is if theta is equal to 90-degree, then what happens? That means the both the forces are at a right angle degree. Earlier also in the earlier slide also I had discussed when the 90-degree, what happens to resolution of forces. You will take the square root of p square plus q square only. The same thing is here, p square plus q square, because cos 90 is 0, right? Therefore you got that one. Sin 90 is equal to 1. Therefore, the resultant also be, the direction of the resultant will be very simplified. Alpha is equal to tan inverse q by p. Tan inverse p by p, q by p. So this is the standard cases or special cases you have to remember for your competitive exams, where they will ask these type of simple questions for 4 or 5 seconds. You can give tick the mm, choice answer in your competitive exams. Hence, these four cases, whatever earlier two cases and these two cases, you have to remember for the competitive exams. Here, fourth point: if theta is equal to 90-degree and P is equal to Q. So earlier we are also seeing that theta is equal to 90-degree, where P and Q are not same. But in this case, P and Q are the same and they are acting at 90-degree. Then system becomes forces perpendicular to each other, then cos theta is equal to 0 and sin theta will be 1. Therefore, R is equal to p square plus q square, but p is equal to q, therefore p square plus p square. Then p square కామన్ ఇస్తే మనకి 2 వస్తుంది, రైట్? అలాగే pని రూట్లోంచి బయట తీసుకొస్తే p square will come out as p from the root outside, and 2 ki root 2, that is root 2 only we are taking, and we know that value is 1.414. In the objective bits, they what they will give, resultant is equal to 1.414p, like that they will give, or 2 by root 2p. So they want to just manipulate that answer. So you should be more aware about this value, how they can be manipulated. So I can manipulate this like in many manners. Like I can do this like 10 by 5 by 10 by 5 root 2. So that will be the same answer. That is p root 2. So you have to understood that in any manner you should be more understood that when the t is equal to 90-degree and p is equal to q, then the resultant will be the p root 2. Then the resultant will be the p root 2. And when the alpha is also, when the both the forces are equal, we know that for the uh, there is a sides of the two triangles as per the Pythagoras law, 1 and 1. Then what will be the root? That will be root 2 only for that. The same thing here is p root 2. What is the angle will come in between? That is 45-degree, right? So q by p, then p by p. Therefore, tan inverse 1, tan inverse 1, that means 45-degree. So you get these concepts. Just practice these concepts. Moving to the next session, that is triangular law of forces. In the earlier system, we wanted to uh, make the forces as the sides of a parallelogram. We want to make the two forces as the sides of a parallelogram, right? Here in the triangular law, we want to make the two forces are the sides of a triangle. That is the major difference, right? Where in the earlier system, we want to construct a parallelogram, that is four sides. But in the triangular law of forces, we want to construct only two sides as the form of the triangular shape. Right? That is the major difference between the parallelogram force and triangular law of force. So, due to this, the resultant is nothing but the starting of the first force to the ending of the last ending of the second force. So, you please understood that the resultant is the joining points of the starting point of the first force or the first side and ending point of the second force or second side of a triangle. So we want to make the forces as a sides of a triangle rather than the sides of a parallelogram. And there is one more tricky in this one is the direction should be continuous, like you are learned in the moment in which we understood that there is a clockwise moment and anti-clockwise. So in the similar manner, I have to arrange the forces at the sides of the triangle such that their arrows are continuous. They should not like a pushing action. They should be a continuous rope action. They should be as a continuous rope action. They should not be any compressive sides or like that, but they should be as a continuous row action. Their arrows are should be continuous. Okay. So make a that might be in the anti-clockwise or clockwise. That is it doesn't matter, but it should be only one sense. Like if you are adapting clockwise, all the forces should be in the clockwise, both the forces. And if you are adopting anti-clockwise, then the forces are also should be in anti-clockwise. So that is system you should maintain. Now you just read out this one. If you two forces acting simultaneously on the body, when two forces are acting in the object, like P and Q are the two forces are acting on a body, the forces can be represented in magnitude and direction of a two sides of a triangle taken in order. Now I add these two forces P and Q, I made it as a sides of a triangle and such that there is a continuity in the arrangement. P is continuously towards the Q, right? Both the arrows are in the one side direction only. Then they are not in opposite direction of the arrows. Then the resultant is represented in magnitude and direction by the third side of the triangle taken in opposite order. Now I need to break that continuity of P and Q and I need to draw the opposite direction as a resultant. The third side of a triangle is nothing but resultant, but when it is drawn opposite direction of the P and Q path, then it is a resultant, right? Then it is resultant. Then see this figure. This is the figure where the two forces have been changed to the sides of a triangle and then resultant is made as a third direction such that this continuity P is flowing towards the Q as in anti-clockwise direction. Now resultant drawn in clockwise direction. That is the thing. Where if P and Q are coming as a anti-clockwise direction and resultant will come as a opposite direction, that is clockwise direction. So that you have to note that. So the procedure is the length of the sides are equal to the force of the magnet to a given scale and direction, which is parallel according to the given direction. You should draw a parallel. The two sides of action direction should be continuous in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, so that the resultant will come to the closing side of the triangle in opposite direction. In opposite direction, that means if you draw in clockwise, then resultant will be in anti-clockwise direction. If you draw on the P and Q in anti-clockwise direction, then the resultant will be the clockwise direction. Now you understood that resultant is same thing. If the question arises, if I drawn in the same manner, if P and Q in the anti-clockwise direction, I draw the third side is also in the anti-clockwise direction, then what happens? You doesn't bother, it will give the equilibrium. That means which is resistance force to the resultant. So you get the equilibrium, not the resultant. So in the question they are asked about the resultant and you are shown as the equilibrium, then you get the marks, then you get the concept, not like that. So if they are asked the resultant, you should draw the opposite direction force, then it is a resultant. If you draw in the same direction as a third side, then it gives the equilibrium. remember, equilibrium and resultant are the same in terms of the magnitude, but in the direction both are in opposite. Sorry about that. So that is equilibrium, right? Now, how the mathematical approach will come? You see, I had drawn the both the forces. A given force system is like this. Now I want to convert into the my triangular law of approach. So I am making it as a triangular like that. P and Q, I made a continuity path in anti-clockwise direction, now what is the theta? Now theta is coming from like this, the extension portion of the P to the side of the Q, the same theta will come as in the problem as they are shown. So your arrangement should not be changed from this one. If you are arranged like this, then you will get the resultant. If you are not getting the theta in the same manner, then you will get the wrong answer. Hence, your arrangement should be such that the force system should not be disturbed, and continuity path of the P and Q will be the same, right? And the resultant will be the opposite direction. So you got the resultant. Now, what is the alpha? Earlier also I mentioned that alpha is the angle between the initial force, that is P or horizontal axis, to the resultant. Now you got the alpha with the using the same formula as in the you are using in the parallelogram law forces. So this is a very understandable point. When P and Q are like this, you have to arrange it in a triangular um, shape by arranging the P and Q without changing the angles, and but just orientation you are going to change, and make only one direction. P and Q has the same path flow. You will get the resultant in as a third side, which is in opposite direction. Now, after understanding the above system, now you use to get the more deeply understood, solve these problems. In this problem, P is equal to given 30 newtons and Q is given 50 newtons. That is, P and Q are the two force vectors, and theta is equal to 40 degree. Then find the resultant. If P is equal, right, then 30 and 50, and theta is 40 degree. Then what is the uh, formula you have to use? By using the parallelogram of forces, you can get this value. All these four problems you can use in the parallelogram of forces. If specifically any person is asked in the triangle law of force system, then you have to convert into the triangular law of force system problem, right? Then what is the formula to get the resultant? R is equal to square root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta, and alpha is equal to tan inverse Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. Use that formula and you will get the solution for these problems. So I had mentioned the special case also here, both the two special cases where we see that 90-degree case, and I had given this 90-degree case here, that is a special case. And similarly, when P and Q are the both the same, but I am not given the theta 90 degree, but I change it to the 45 degree. I change it to the 45 degree. So those special cases you should see these 90-degree cases. Theta is equal to 90 degree, then R is equal P square plus Q square. So this is the special case I had given to you. And the second case is also when P is equal to Q, but in this case I am not given theta of 90 degree, I given 45 degree. Then this expression would not be work out for me, right? So for the 45 degree, what is the cos 45? Then uh, 1 by root 2 Therefore, in addition to the r is equal to square root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta, where cos theta is 1 by root 2. Therefore, you will get p square plus q square plus root 2 pq. So here r will be changes like that, and similar manner alpha is also going to be changed because tan inverse is equal to tan inverse q sin theta, that means sin 45 is come, therefore q by root 2, and p plus q by q cos theta again 1 by root 2. So you will get root 2q divided by root 2 plus q. Yeah? So again root 2, yeah, that will be managed. So these type of problems you will get in your competitive exams like ESET and any job-oriented exams. You will certainly get this. Without this parallelogram and triangular law, you cannot get a single paper. Those are like RRB, Railway Recruitment Board, and AE, Assistant Executive Engineer post like that. Those exams you will get one or two more problems uh, for in your exams. Hence, I want to conclude like that you should have more practice on these parallelogram forces and triangular law forces, and also system of force to better understood that one, which is useful for the upcoming structural subjects of core subjects of the civil engineering. So in this session, we discussed about the resultant of the two forces acting at a point, law of parallelogram of forces and triangular law of forces, and we also deal with their geometrical construction and as well as the mathematical approach also. And we also discussed about the special cases of the parallelogram of forces, and we are also understood how to substitute the values of the those forces and different angle of directions to get the resultant. And we also better understood that whenever we are asked about to find the resultant, you should find the magnitude of the resultant and direction of the resultant. In addition of this, we have to complete the diagram with all the details of the your findings to better understanding of the your conclusions. So uh, from this aspect, we are understood that concurrent forces, collinear forces, like forces, unlike forces, non-covalent forces, and everything we are now the force system is now we are understood, and also you are understood about the force resolution also. So, like in x-axis and y-axis, how the forces will be resoluted, right? That according to the sine theta and cos theta, right? So we are mm, now at a stage to go to the next sessions, which are more involvement of the concepts using these basics. Thank you.